to Nerd News Now.
Two, one.
Hello, welcome to Nerd News Now. Got everyone with me. I got Kyle, he's got a hat on. I got Brainy, and I got Miss Jen. How's everyone doing? Miss Jen, start with you.
A lovely weekend away. My first weekend away, and can't remember the last time I was away. Comics Pro, I guess.
But in Texas here, it's officially summer now because it hit 90 degrees today and it was miserable outside.
Agreed.
It's Texas. It's always miserable outside.
I mean, I don't have the energy to argue with you because the humidity has zapped all the especially this year, it is always awful outside. What about you, Brandy? How's it been going?
It's been going. It's a little tired. We got 2 pallets of Gemini shippers I had to unload. And, I'm starting to realize age is catching up to me.
What's a Gemini shipper? Is that one of the villains from Mega Man 3?
Yeah, that's what it is. But they transform into boxes that you can use to ship comic books throughout the world.
Oh. So just a auto comic moving around. Comics get really heavy, don't they?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Especially pallets and long boxes and all that. It's
Especially the stuff.
It's not so heavy. A lot is heavy.
You don't realize the paper difference from back in the newsprint days when they were so much lighter. Oh my God! Nowadays it's just it's better to go work out in the gym. Oh, I don't know.
Best decision I ever made was not dealing in modern comics anymore, just in silver and gold, because they're so much lighter.
Yeah, I think a long box of silver or even bronze is like 30 pounds. You put all modern in that box, it's a 50-pound box.
Right, and when you lift the older ones, and I'm starting to wonder whether the box is empty or not because it's so much lighter. Like, wait, is this box half empty?
And is that weight difference solely due to the inside pages, or do fancy covers have a lot to do with that? Wraparounds, lenticular, all that type of stuff.
No, it's the entirety of it. If they do use cardstock, it of course adds more weight to it, but that's not that. Comparatively, it's the inside paper that's making a huge difference.
Well, that's how they measure paper, right? Is by the pound.
Correct.
If you want to know the weight, if you want to know which size stock paper you have, it's actually by the pound.
Correct.
So imagine folding those pages in half and then stapling them and then putting hundreds of them in a box. And my back hurts thinking about it.
I think everything I learned about paper was from the American version of The Office and all the goings on under Mifflin. So never really thought about it yet.
When I was in design school, I had to take a class on paperweight.
Really?
Like, so you knew what stock paper you were going to use, what stock paper held what kind of ink best. If you were doing something for print, what color, what Pantone book should you be using for the kind of stock paper they were using. It was the most boring class ever, but they were constantly giving you sheets of paper, and it was graphic design school, and you always had homework, so you could just doodle and work on your thumbnailing on the paper. You were supposed to be paying attention to what weight it was. It was maybe a bad way to teach, but worked out for me.
Mm-hmm.
And also, so the only different paper I can think of is resume paper. So you have paper and resume paper. This is for my purposes of my life. I'm assuming all three of you have hired people for various things, right? Comic shops and whatnot. So does resume paper matter? Like if someone gave you a resume on non-resume paper, do you throw it away or does it matter at all? Kyle's like shaking his head.
Well,
yes.
Okay. Here's the thing about resume paper, and this is why you use resume paper, and this is resume 101. Resume paper is a lot harder to get buried into a stack of other crap. It sticks out. That's why you use it. You don't, I've got bills and stuff that are on regular 20-pound printer paper. The real thin, flimsy stuff you can get at Walmart for $5. You give me a resume that's on like a 30-pound paper with a little bit of a marble in it. That's not going to get lost in this other pile of junk. That's why I say resume paper is important. If somebody hands it to me on regular printer paper, I'm not going to disqualify them from the job. But also, it's 2021. If you're handing me a resume, we may have a bigger problem.
That's exactly
submitting it online.
And that's our test number one. Whenever somebody comes to apply, we tell them, hey, well, now we've got an application for them to fill out online, but it's send your resume to resume@enjoy.us. That's test number one. If you can't follow that simple instruction, you do not want to work for me.
And I also have the rule, you must deliver a resume to me in person.
See, we don't do the in-person one because I'm not at the store normally and my hours are, So it also teaches, it lets us know that they know how to operate a computer. Yeah. You would not believe in today's date, people cannot even send a simple email. And I'm talking about like young people, not, elderly or anything like that. But
the last kid I hired, I had on my business card, I had 3 different emails, right? My email, my business partner's email, and the generic store email. I go, send your resume. And if you don't have resume, send a copy of your high school transcript because he was fresh out of high school. Like he no work experience. Okay, I can deal with that. Send your transcript to these 3 emails. And if he couldn't send those 3 emails, I wasn't going to interview him. But he stands there on his phone and sends me his transcripts. I go, great. Now, shoot me a message on Facebook, on my store's Facebook, and say, hey, I'm the kid you met here. Those are my transcripts. So I remember who you are. And he did all those steps, and he was one of the best employees I ever had. But it's about realizing, oh, this is an opportunity. This is what this person wants to give me a job. I got to do it. So,
yep.
I like the doing it right then, right there, right in front of you. I kind of like that.
Right. Yeah, it showed that he wanted it. Like if he'd said, okay, I'll do that later. All right, do it later. I mean, you might not have your transcript accessible on your phone. I'm okay. Yeah. But he did, and he was like, no, I want this job. I'm in. Okay.
And Kyle, so was Resume 101 a class you took as an elective addition to Paperweight 101, or?
No. So I was in the trades in high school. I studied computer-aided drafting in high school.
Yeah.
Because, I was one of those kids that's like, oh, I'm going to go into the workforce. I'm not going to go to college. But I studied computer-aided drafting. And one of the things they have to teach you in those programs is resumes and interviews and that kind of stuff. Then when I decided I am going to go to college, I went to a trade school. I went to, a broadcast media school, and they taught for graphic design for broadcast. And they taught me, again, resumes and interviews, but they added with your portfolio, to that roster. And then when I went to regular college, there was a class you had to take as a requirement to graduate, interviewing and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I've taken that class 3 or 4 times. It's why when I worked in radio, I worked in HR. Like,
but the bottom line is there's still a lot of different paper out there, and I just don't know if anyone's using it.
You would not tell when somebody doesn't know what paper is.
Yeah.
You should see how much different type of paper I have. And, it's stuff that I've probably used maybe once or twice for projects. And I've got stacks and stacks of different type of paper. Different weight, different.
Got 3 different in the room right here. Behind me, I got 3 different weights of neon colored paper.
Yeah, nice. Miss Jens just saw 3 different colors of paper that we use.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I sure did.
Yep.
You never know when you're going to need heavy neon paper for signs, or you never know when you're going to need light neon paper for handouts, or when you're going to need a medium weight neon paper for printouts.
Correct. And when you need it for banners or anything like that, signs or anything like that. Yep. Of course, most of the time it just sits there and collects dust because you use it for one or two projects, and then it just sits there.
And you can't find it when you need it, so you go buy another ream.
Exactly.
Then you go to put that ream away, and that's where the other one was? Come on, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just wonder how many people are still printing resumes on resume paper. But Miss Jen, you said that people have to hand you the paper. Is there an obstacle course involved? Because it sounded kind of menacing when you said it.
No, it's just for me, my pet peeve is when I tell people that are interested in actually working for me that I require a resume in person, and they send me a picture of the resume via, Facebook direct message. Sorry, that completely knocks you out of the running. I'm a stickler in that. It's just like Brainy says. It's like my way of knowing it. Can you follow a simple instruction? It doesn't really mean anything about the actual resume, although I do read them, and I'm dismayed when people like, did you actually proofread this? Because most of it doesn't make any sense even. So now I'm sorry, you're disqualified because you also don't know how to write a resume. Go back to square one.
I mean, especially with all the templates available, I think writing a resume is still a daunting task as far as like trying to sell yourself to an employer or a specific job. But the presentation is kind of just done for us now. If you just download a simple template and then maybe use like an application like Grammarly to check your grammar and spelling and things like that. But yeah.
We recently received a resume, and I was surprised that this person was in college. The amount of grammatical errors that were on that resume. It's a resume. This is your presentation to your. I was just like, how? Even if you're challenged, it's still, somebody has to review it, right? I was just surprised this person even, he could have just gone to, like you mentioned, gotten a template, looked at it, just changed some of the information or whatnot. But at least he tried to submit a resume. I'll give him that. But it's the little things that really matter, really count. Like Jen said, it's not always about the resume; it's about how you follow.
Yeah.
For me, it was always about the follow up. It was you drop off your resume. If you drop off a resume, or you email me your resume, or you send me one through Facebook, whatever. I don't care how you get it to me necessarily. But these are the 3 people I want it to go to. And then it's, do you follow up and say, hey, want to make sure you got my resume? Please let me know when you're hiring, or if you're hiring, or when we can have an interview, when we can get together, sit down. The follow up, and then the big thing for me, because it's a customer service industry, is did they say thank you at the end of the interview, and then did they send a note or an email or a Facebook message afterwards saying it was nice to have an opportunity, thank you for the chance, any of that kind of stuff, because that's a sign of somebody who's going to be good in customer service. Mm-hmm. If they're good in interpersonal relationships, and
whether they ask questions during the interview. I'm amazed how many people don't ask, hey, what are the hours going to be like? How much am I going to get paid? That just, it's like, don't you want to know how much you're going to get paid? A simple question like that, and they just don't ask.
I would tell people never ask what you're going to get paid.
No, you should ask.
That is... No, you can ask, what are the hours like? Where does your pay fall in comparison to minimum wage? Things like that, but don't ever. I tell people during a first interview, never ask for a number.
Specific number, probably. You're right. But do ask. About
competitive wages. Do you offer wages that are commensurate to? So I had somebody, and my favorite question was, I had Wendy's offer me $12 an hour. Can you match or beat that? And I went, yeah. They're going, okay. Those kind of questions about, I know what my time is worth to other people, what's it worth to you, gives me an indication of that you've got some sort of value of your time in life. So I always go into an interview knowing what I need to get, and then going from there, figuring out what I want to get or what I can get.
So one of the questions we put on our application that we did online, that we were basically making them fill it out online, just a questionnaire basically. You know, we made the answer so simple. You know, it's basically which universe is Darkseid in. We even said, of course, it's DC. Everybody knows that, and it's amazing. You know, I'm sort of surprised that almost everybody's gotten that one correct, and I do put the word almost everybody. You know, you still have to wonder. You could just go Google that and figure it out. And I also got to check where on the internet does it say that we opened our store in 2002? Because there were so many people who answered that our store opened in 2000. Because that's one of our questions, like when did Enjoy start? And there are so many people that have been answering 2002. So I'm trying to figure out where it says that we started in 2002. Anyway, so we have just spent, what, a half hour on this topic?
Yeah,
like
it's a good
like
topic.
19 minutes, 19 minutes maybe. I don't know. No, I think those are all excellent points. As someone who's on the opposite side of that, I would say that, you know, depending on the type of job, some of those kind of the things that people say is a big must or a big no-no, um, those vary because, like, as far as the payment, well, again, going back to what we have access to nowadays, you have websites like Glassdoor, and you can get the average payment, and so you might know what to expect. But yeah, I was told just never do numbers, and also if it's like a corporate type job, they're a lot more kind of closed-lipped about money, just because it just depends on kind of the hiring
You
process.
might be making more than the guy sitting next to you doing the same job.
Yes, and no one wants you to know that or say that out loud. So it's
And,
yeah.
You know, it's a,
like we talked about, Mark. You know, you and I come from that media background.
Uh,
It's even a different thing when you're interviewing for a job in media.
correct.
If you're interviewing in radio. When I interviewed with iHeart, the interview was very straight laced and straightforward. When I interviewed with Cumulus, it was a lot more laid back. And then when I interviewed with a third company, it was basically like, "Hey man, how much weed do you smoke a day?" So my answer was none. They're like, "Really? You're hired." Like, because that was, you know, kind of the thing. Like it. So depending on the industry too, it does vary wildly. So
Of course. You know, we do in construction, so, you know, everybody knows what everybody gets paid because of, you know, the DIR requirements and Davis-Bacon Act and everything. So everybody knows what they're going to get paid in construction.
yeah,
But I still think it's good to at least ask. It's like, hey, am I going to get, you know, how many hours am I going to get? Am I going to get?
Yeah.
Am I going to be able to pay my bills at the end of the week? You know, things like that.
yeah, and
So-
I think it also depends on if a place is getting 100 applications for a job or 20,000 applications for a job
Right.
too, and that also leads into the when do you contact them back? And if some people, especially at that corporate level, will say, do not contact us because this is going to be a month-long process. And then you start to second guess it, like, wait a minute, when they said do not contact, is that like a test I'm supposed to contact or I'm not supposed to contact? And when I do, what do I ask? And it just gets very exhaustive mentally, I think. And then as far as the questions, you can out question yourself out of a job too, right?
Yes, of course.
Asking too
Yes.
many questions.
I
Yeah.
know for sure I didn't get a job once because I asked a question that the interviewer thought was inappropriate. And it's not like I asked a weird question, but I was working for a company that was doing marketing, or I was interviewing to work for a company that was doing marketing, and one of their clients for years had been Tractor Supply Company. And I remembered vividly the first time I encountered a Tractor Supply Company ad was when they had country singer Clint Black as their spokesperson. And I asked the question, what was the mentality behind the Clint Black ad campaign? Which gives an idea as for me as to this is a brand awareness question. This isn't a question about advertising history. What was your goals? What were you going for? And the person said, we won't talk about that until we hire someone. And I went, oh, in my head, I'm going, oh, I'm not getting this job now. And I know for a fact I didn't because I asked them that question and they felt like I was trolling for information. So weird sometimes what people think.
Yeah.
So to get back to Mark's original question about weekends, I had a big one.
What'd you do?
I bought a car on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
Saturday, I participated in a virtual hunt for a serial killer. It's like Pokemon Go meets Law and Order SVU. You download an app on your phone, and they're doing this in cities all over the country. And it tells you where to go on a map, and you go and you collect clues, and you get witness interviews, and you read things, and you have to figure out who is the Ripper. So here in Toledo, it was the Glass City Ripper. And it was super fun. That was an amazing way to spend a weekend, like pretending to be, a detective trying to find a serial killer.
Did you record it like you said you're?
We shot a lot of it, but then we realized, oh crap, we're being timed and we're competing against all these other teams that are being timed. So maybe we should be less theatrical and more competitive.
Yeah.
And we wound up coming in the top 25. But unlike a lot of teams, our first guess was correct.
Oh.
Yeah, so when we solved it, we solved it. But a lot of teams went faster than we did because they just got lucky and hit their clues in the right order or guessed, I'm sure. And then we didn't win Best Group Costume because apparently Goth Detectives is not a good vibe. We lost to a group that was a group of girls who were all dressed as Magnum PI.
Oh, perfect.
So I mean, but it was really fun to run around like my city. Like I know this city like the back of my hand. It's downtown Toledo it's not my neighborhood, but it might as well be. So I know where every little nook and cranny is and every one of these locations was. With a bunch of other people who maybe had never explored downtown before. And like get to see people realize that we have these old historic buildings and these really cool little plaques commemorating things that you'd never see if not for this kind of thing. So get to experience the city with a bunch of people that way was super fun.
So this was a mix of like in person and virtual at the same time, or I mean, you're just running around.
You were running around like it was GPS based, just like Pokemon Go. But yeah, you get to the thing and you'd scan it on your phone. And up would pop the clue or the interview video or whatever. So it was a lot like Pokemon Go.
I want to add on to your question, Mark, and I will explain my week. You guys ever watch those old classic romantic movies where the wife of the soldier is waiting outside of the train station every night waiting for him to come home? My week was like that. I was sitting outside almost every night waiting for the postman, the UPS man, the FedEx man to deliver my lightsaber churros.
They rained out.
Man. Sorry, Brainy.
Broke my heart every night.
No, it was a non-starter. It was 38 degrees and rainy. They did not.
That 38 and rain should not stop the ball game.
Yeah. Chance of snow stops ball game.
38 and rainy would stop my chance of showing up to a ball game for sure. I just did not. I don't want to go to a stadium and be uncomfortable.
Hey, 38 and rain, I am not getting out of bed, period.
I've gone to games like that when they had to play games like, in postseason.
Mm-hmm.
I've been to games where it's snowing and it's like there's something really cool about watching a game in the snow, and then there's something really dumb about when the guy who normally is carrying beer around, ice cold beer, is carrying around real hot chocolate. It's a weird kind of vibe.
Well, I mean, you got to play to your audience, though. A lot of people will reach for that hot chocolate.
Yeah, no, he was selling them like crazy.
What'd you do this park? Anything fun?
No, just work. And trying to think. I caught up on The Bad Batch, which was one of the May 4th releases on Disney Plus. Has anyone seen that?
Not yet.
No.
Binging Legacy.
Probably all it did was it probably just spiked the prices of all these Star Wars comics I've never heard of. Because I feel that's what's happening every time anything Star Wars comes out now.
Yep.
There's some short printed comic from 2005 or 1998 or 2017. Just goes through the roof. And I don't even know if the Bad Batch, this Clone Force 99, I would assume they're in the comics at some point. But if they are, I'm sure that went through the roof this week. Because, no, that show's good. Bad Batch is a good, enjoyable animated series. I never got into Clone Wars. The movie killed it for me. Just I was done from the jump on that. And I still have yet to go back and watch it, even though a lot of people rave about the final season and where it went. And then even more people are in love with the animated series Rebels. But I think the Bad Batch is fun. It's like Star Wars version of A-Team. So.
You definitely got to watch Rebels and Clone Wars.
I think Rebels, there's a better chance to jump in and kind of knock it out season by season. Clone Wars, though, it's just whenever that movie came out, the 90-minute, which is probably just a 3-part, episodic to start up that animated series, that wasn't for me.
It's worth watching. Yeah, the last episode, last season's really good. There's a lot. I thought the entire series was good, but that's me. So, Miss Jen, how are you liking Jupiter Legacy?
I am episode 4 in, and I love it. It's it has all the violence that you like from The Boys, but I like it because I feel like now kind of all the superhero things, with Invincible and everything, that the superheroes all have bad guy aspects to them, and this feels like all the superheroes are damaged and maybe not 100%, sober all the time, but they're good guys. So, and they're all damaged backstories, which means I love all of them because I'm a sucker for a damaged hero.
Did you watch or did you read Pro? I would love to see that made into a movie. The Pro from Image.
I know exactly what you're talking about, but I did not. I've only read the book.
Well, there's no movie. I hope they can make that into a movie. I think that would be a really good movie to make for them, especially with everything else that's out. With the Jupiter Legacy and Alias and all of that. I think it would be a really good movie falling into that same genre.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was worried that I would be over superheroed miniseries. That's not what I felt. I felt like, oh, now this, mostly because of it jumps back and forth in time period between Depression era, post crash America, and modern day. or the modern day that the superhero universe is set in, at least.
Yeah, I'm divided on whether I want to look. I did not like I couldn't get into the comic book. I tried reading issue number 1. It just didn't appeal to me enough that. But I'll check the show out. I'll see.
Mm-hmm.
I am
Go
going
ahead.
to watch it once I finish Falcon and Winter Soldier, which I've officially watched the first 2 episodes of.
Good job, Kyle. I knew you'd find some time.
Yeah.
I actually finished it. I was expecting something different out of it. But hey, it was still good.
Has anyone finished Invincible?
Oh yeah,
That was nuts. Absolutely crazy.
right. Have you seen it, Kyle?
Episode 1.
Oh yeah. We'll wait.
I'm just one.
I have watched all of Longmire recently.
How many seasons does that end up being? That's not still going.
6. No. It was 3 on A&E, and then Netflix picked it up for 3.
Yeah.
But I watched all of that in recent weeks because I needed a sort of turn your brain off but not completely cop show. Is what I decided, and Lou Diamond Phillips
Mm-hmm.
is awesome. Also Katie Sackhoff in Bootcut Jeans. Like, not to reveal too much about myself, but that's a big draw. But it was a good cop show, and a good cop show not produced by Dick Wolf is hard to come by these days. So
Yeah.
I was into it. But that said, I'm now to the point where I'm ready to watch Falcon and Winter Soldier. I've rewatched all the Captain America movies. I'm at the point where I'm ready to watch Falcon and Winter Soldier. I watched the second episode and went, huh. All right, maybe my brain's not in the right place for this right now. And so I figured I'd pick it up tomorrow or the next day and try and get through it this week. It's one of those is that if I don't feel like I can focus on it, I don't want to watch. It's one of those, I can't watch that and work. I can't watch that and read the internet. I got to be able to focus on it. I've not felt like I could focus on it. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to try and finish it this week, but I got to get my head right.
Trying to figure out.
And once that's done, it'll be Invincible and Jupiter's Legacy at the same time.
Oh, perfect. I'm trying to figure out what from Millar World that I want to come out next. I think it's a tie between Prodigy and Magic. Oh gosh, I forgot the second part of that title.
Oh my God, so did I. And I know what you're talking about too.
Yeah, it's a great book. Gum.
If you guys have not started, try checking out Yosuke on Netflix. I started it this morning. I got hooked. First episode, I'm like, oh, that's actually pretty good.
What's it called again?
I believe it's called Yusuke. Let me just make sure. I don't know where my television remote is.
Well, what's that one about, Brainy?
It's about a black servant that gets promoted to being a samurai. And then of course the dark forces take over, and the story takes place 20 years later, and they do start doing flashbacks and everything like that. I'm only on episode 2 or 3, but after I'm done with everything tonight, I'm going to stay up late and try to watch a few more episodes. It's a
Magic Order.
What's that?
Thank you. Magic Order.
Magic Order.
Yeah, Magic Order.
And my answer to that is either Sharky the Bounty Hunter.
Yeah.
Or I'd love to see a Hit Girl or Kick-Ass series from Netflix as opposed to the films. But if they're not going to do that, I think I'm ready just for Huck. So I'll be right back. I can hear you guys, even though I'm not here.
All right. Miss Jen, do you know, so, in this Millarverse, are these going to be connected? Or is it, I mean, I know he signed a Netflix deal, but are the shows that come out next going to be connected to Jupiter's Legacy in any way? Or have they announced that?
I don't think they're. I know it's part of a shared like his creation universe, but
Yeah.
I can't imagine that they're actually connected as a universe. I mean, like they're so different. Like Sharky Bounty Hunter is about a bounty hunter that operates out of an ice cream truck, and it's kind of like obscene comedy.
I just didn't. I didn't know if the comics were interconnected at this point or not. So it's just.
I think that was his whole idea behind Millar World, that they would be connected one way or another. But like you said, there's some bizarre ones that you never know. You never know. Yeah.
Maybe we should start paying attention to see if there's clues in the background. Like if we start seeing like really Natalie dressed witches and warlocks in the background of Jupiter's Legacy, I guess we know.
Yep.
And how long has Jupiter's Legacy been out as a comic?
Enough time for them to have multiple series. There's Jupiter's Legacy and Jupiter's Circle, 2 series of that.
Uh-huh.
I think it's been like 5-10 years now.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
There's a lot of material.
Jupiter's Legacy originally came out in 2013. And then there's Jupiter's Legacy Requiem that comes out this year. So still going from 2013.
Well, still going in the sense that it's all miniseries. So they did after a certain amount of issues.
So I heard you ask, there are some that tie together. Jupiter's Legacy ties in with, I want to say,
maybe.
Oh, I can't remember. But there are some that tie together. Jupiter's Legacy and Chrononauts maybe? Or Empress, Nemesis, some of those. Huh?
I forgot about Chrononauts. I forgot that was Millar World.
Yeah, it's
here too.
There are some that tie together, and then there are some that are separate. Like Kick-Ass and Hit-Girl do not exist in the same world as Jupiter's Legacy. But some of the other stuff does. However, I don't think Sharky the Bounty Hunter exists in any other world.
That's what I was
that
saying.
we know
in his own world. Right. You know what would be good? A Space Bandit show.
Yeah.
The old classic Space Bandit?
Yeah, with the Matteo Scalera one that he did. Millar did a Space Bandits series at Image.
Totally escaping me. I'll check it out.
2019.
You'll remember it, Brainy. It was the one that had the C cover that was 75 cents.
Oh yeah. Oh my God. That was a weird marketing ploy. I don't understand what they were trying to do with that.
Well, it was weird because they were like lower price, but then on the secondary market, those were the ones that pumped up in price. So it's like, okay.
Because I think the concept was most retailers didn't order that one because of the margin. You're not making as much money off of a 75-cent book as you are off of a $3.99 book. And everybody's got to pay rent. There's only limited space. So I think that was the concept behind it back then.
But the real question is, what weight paper did they use for the 75-cent book?
It was, in fact, the same type of paper that you used for the regular one. The only difference was the cover. Everything else was the same. The Chinese printing companies do a really good job for a very low cost. Mm-hmm. Even the Canadian ones, they do a really good job.
Pages are 15-pound paperweight.
Is it 15 pounds? I thought it was a little bit lighter, but it makes sense actually.
I don't know.
Here's
I know that.
here's the real question, Miss Jen. How many times did you see Wrath of Man this weekend?
None times. I was away at a bed and breakfast.
Oh, okay, that's good. Because you've been going through the movies like once or twice a week this whole time, so I
Yep.
figure maybe you helped contributed to Jason Statham winning the box office with Wrath of Man, which I vaguely remember seeing a commercial for like a week or so ago.
hmm
But it's got Richie and Jason Statham. It's
Yeah.
So, Miss Jen, the retreat was just for fun, or were you celebrating something?
Oh, I went out to Comfort, Texas for a wedding of a friend of mine. We stayed at a bed and breakfast and extended the stay. Like we went out on Friday and came back on Sunday. We could have just gone out on Saturday and came back, but
So, how are restrictions in Texas now? Is it
there's no COVID in Texas.
we're pretty open. We're still pretty serious about wearing masks everywhere, but everything's pretty much open.
Yeah, we're getting there, but from what I hear, a lot of retailers, not in the neighborhood, are a little still reluctant on trying to open all the way. Even us, I'm still reluctant trying to go back to what our normal used to be. But we'll see how that turns out.
I would just tell you the most difficult part, honestly, is when the governor took down the mandatory mask requirement, the getting customers to understand that yes, it was still within the law for us as retail establishment owners to still require a mask and have it be an actual requirement.
Yep.
That was the hard part, and it's still the hard part. We have to.
Yep,
we
sure.
know every day that we're going to have to fight a battle at least with one person over it. So.
Yeah, you basically just have to keep up your self-diligence, and if you don't feel comfortable anywhere, just get out of there. I mean, that's kind of what you have to do here. Now, anyway, but most businesses, I haven't been to a business where, you know, all the employees aren't, are not wearing masks. So, I think from the business perspective, everyone's been super diligent about it. It's just from the other shoppers, consumers, etc. It just varies place to place. Miss Jen, where is Comfort, Texas?
It's in the Texas near Fredericksburg,
Oh, okay.
where the good German food is, which I ate.
Yeah. And Fredericksburg is like how would you describe that? A tiny shopping town? I don't know.
Well, right when I grew up in Georgetown, which is not too far away from there, it was more about they had a lot of cool like German bars and a lot of cool shopping along that main street. And now it almost has turned into like a little wine country. So
Yeah.
now they have a bunch of wine tours. You can just like show up on Main Street, hop in a bus, and they go for a whole day or two just sipping wine. Peach wine, if you like.
So real quick, Wrath of Man, Jason Statham led. I wanted to see if anyone can answer this question. Out of Jason Statham's 5 top grossing movies, 3 of them were Fast and the Furious. So probably no surprise there. But can anyone name the other 2?
Transporter.
Mechanic?
Brainy, you got a guess?
Is it the one where he has to keep his adrenaline up?
Crank, no. That the Amy Smart. No, it's Italian Job
Ah!
I forgot he was in that.
that made 160 million, and The Meg. Was that like 2 years ago? By the giant monster, 143
Really?
million with Rainn Wilson. Yeah, it's back when people went to the movies, so you could like pretty much release anything. You could release like a sci-fi movie into the box office, and people would pay for it.
I give you the Italian Job. I will give you that one 100%. That movie is fantastic.
Yeah.
But The Meg?
Yeah, but you gotta remember it was back when people used to go to movies though. Like
I
a
don't
lot.
care. It's still the Meg. That's the Sharknado of Jason Statham movies. Like,
But
the
that
Transporter,
people
so
went.
good. Crank, so good. He
Yeah.
was in one of those Sylvester Stallone old people versus young people killing each other movies. Expendables.
Yeah.
Wasn't he in an Oceans movie?
No, I don't
Oceans
think
37 or something?
I don't think
Like,
so.
I'm not okay.
Yeah, I know, but it's back when people went to movies.
I don't, again, there's an irrelevancy factor to that.
Like if you release the Meg right now, it maybe gets 1 million, but it's when people were just going to movies like crazy and they were like Jason Statham in a Sharknado type movie, people were like, "Yeah, I'll do that. I don't care."
See, but here's the thing, right? Like, the Transporter is on cable all the time.
Yeah.
That movie is still grossing.
Yes.
The Expendables is on cable all the time. The Italian Job is doing nothing. The Meg is not on cable. None of the stations are that desperate for content that they would put the Meg on. They would put on Sharknado.
Speaking of not being on, I did not realize they took King Kong and Godzilla away from HBO Max.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
30 days.
It's 30 days. Once the movie hits there, you got 30 days.
I missed it.
I think this
You didn't
week
miss much.
I think this week is the Angelina Jolie movie. I believe.
That is so that Those Who Wish Me Dead.
Yes.
Now, was it based on a book or was it based on a comic, or is there a comic that's based on the original story? There's some tie-in to our industry. I can't remember what it was. It might just be that the original novel the movie is based on has been adapted into graphic novel or something. But this is the movie that may get me back in a traditional theater.
Oh yeah?
Really? Because of the action or the actors?
The story.
Really?
Yeah, if it's based on the book that I'm aware of, I enjoyed the book. If it's not and it just shares a similar title, I'm okay with being disappointed in going back to the movie. But it's going back to see. Like, if I could see it for $5 on a Tuesday, I'm gonna. But we'll see what happens. I could be convinced.
But it's so easy just to turn on your TV. That's the thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Like I said, if the right friends go, hey, we're gonna go to the movies, I could be convinced to
As long as they pick up the bill.
Show up.
Even then.
How much longer do I have to half watch or half pay attention to Mortal Kombat? Like 2 more weeks?
I finished that. It was a okay story. Did Kyle freeze? Oh.
No.
I don't think I've ever seen him that still before.
I'm trying to figure out if Those Who Wish Me Dead is based on the thing I know or not.
Well, I have a question for you, Kyle, while you do that. Well,
okay, ask me a question.
You're talking about the serial killer game. Was the name of the serial killer Cletus Cassidy?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, segue. Carnage trailer came out today. And I'm very conflicted about this. Miss Jen, let's start with you. What do you think about the Venom Let There Be Carnage? Like the trailer and just the idea of this is still something that we're doing even though it's not connected to the MCU or Spider-Verse.
I mean, I'm kind of happy they stuck with that kind of like goofy shtick that they've got between Venom and Eddie. I mean,
I think it's upped it. I feel like it's upped, and that's for the better.
Yeah, they know that they didn't go very serious in the first one. They didn't earn their R, so they're just gonna stick with that. I think they're gonna let Carnage be the R.
Oh yeah. Did anyone else get to see the trailer?
Yep.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Meh.
Yeah.
But to your point, Mark, I think they did. They had Spider-Man in there, or Peter Parker in there. So in essence, I think they are saying this is part of the MCU because Spider-Man is supposed to be part of the MCU.
Wait, Peter Parker was in there? Did I miss something?
Unless if I watched the wrong trailer, could have
Yeah, they
sworn I
said
saw.
that it's not. Where is it at? It's the director came out and said it's not part of the MCU.
Stupid directors. What do they know? No, then I must have watched the wrong. I could have sworn I saw Tom Holland.
Wait. This movie is directed by Andy Serkis.
Yes. Yes.
Little less meh because
Yeah.
I love Andy Serkis. Still
Yeah.
copious amounts of meh. But
There's
maybe only 2 exclamation points instead of 3.
Yeah.
So I posted it up on social media to one of our entertainment sites, and I said, I think I see some other characters in here. What do you guys think? And I felt so bad because the first guy that puts it up is like, oh, I think I saw a Scream. So he like immediately, I guess, goes and buys the internet out of first appearances of that character. And then the next person down says, I'm pretty sure that's Shriek. And he's like, oh no.
It was Shriek. It is Shriek for sure.
Like,
Naomi Harris is playing Shriek in that. I do think, Miss Jen, you're right about they're gonna let Carnage be the rated R part. I enjoyed Venom making an omelet. I did. So.
I it's the thing about it is the comedy seems solid.
Mhm.
The Venom comedy seems solid, which I like. I still have huge reservations about the rest of the movie. The acting, the writing, the VFX. We all watched an amorphous blob roll around the screen for however long that end of that last movie was.
Yeah.
How do I know they're not going to do that to me again? I will. I am seriously considering not seeing it at all. Which is what I said about the first Venom movie, and there I was opening night with a giant bucket of popcorn. So, we'll see what happens. We'll see if I can be convinced to go see it by someone. It just nothing about it is super appealing to me right now.
And the Morpheus Blob movie was really big in the 60s and in the 80s when they reshot it in color.
Mhm. I just want to see Woody act. I've never been disappointed in seeing Woody act.
I think
There were some episodes of Cheers where it was a little sketchy.
Yeah,
He was pretty green.
But for every Cheers episode like that, then there's like, season 1 of True Detective.
Mm-hmm.
So the guy can act, I think. So he does get thrown in a lot of, franchise type stuff like Planet of the Apes and whatnot. But it just depends. I mean, sometimes you need a paycheck, and sometimes it's like you still have. He's had quite a career. Like when you think about his career, it's kind of crazy. Just like
Yeah.
his IMDb is just.
Well, when you think about the fact that his dad went to jail for murder.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, Woody Harrelson's life is like he should make a movie of his life.
Mm-hmm.
It's wild.
I did not know that.
Yeah. No, Woody Harrelson's dad was like in prison for murder, and his mom was a drug addict, and like all this kind of like Woody Harrelson should, for all the stories you hear, this is the classic part of the system stuck in a terrible cycle. But instead, he gets Cheers and is a huge star and great actor and gifted individual. And it's great, but it's just one of those things like, I like Woody Harrelson a lot, but I just don't.
Is it the hair? Is it the red hair?
No,
It's just yeah.
it was my tremendous disappointment in the first Venom movie
Mm,
that's had me apprehensive and upset about the sequel since the post credit scene in the first movie.
yeah.
So
I I really like Tom Hardy though, so I'm gonna try to tough this out.
yeah,
I don't know if
there
he's
was some other
I mean, I don't know if he's an Eddie Brock, but I know the guy tries every time at bat. So
kind of big movie news that's sort of relevant to pieces of movie news.
okay, go for it.
NBC has aired the Golden Globes since 1944, and it won't air them in 2020
I saw that.
because of problems with the Hollywood Foreign Press Association lacking diversity. 100 member, and it's the problem is that 100 people get to vote on the Golden Globes, and they're all white dudes. Um, and so NBC is saying, look, make some changes or we won't air it. And the Hollywood Foreign Press Association, to their credit, says we're working on it. We're making changes. We're growing the number of people in the organization. We're doing all of this kind of stuff. But it just got piled on when, the whitest of white dudes, um, Tom Cruise, piled on and sent back his awards. So, and then Scarlett Johansson came after him. So it's one of those things is that Hollywood's wine taster for the Oscars is getting a lot of flack right now, and it's going to be interesting to see how that all pans out.
Yeah.
I think the more and that's why I'm a member of the Film Independent Association, the Film Independent Group, is that it can be anybody. You don't have to have a particular background or whatever. So it is a very diverse group of people voting for these movies, which is super cool. But the other one, and this was what I thought would be the big movie news today, Disney's Cruella debuts first song by Florence and the Machine, Call Me Cruella, and it sounds like an absolute bop. It sounds amazing.
Hit
I
play.
love the machine. I gotta check that out. I thought you were gonna say Dave Bautista's cast for Knives Out too.
No. No, it's the Cruella de Vil song from Florence and the Machine is good. The soundtrack will be out the 21st. Movie's out the 27th.
What was the soundtrack we were curious about? Oh, Top Gun. We need to know
Top
what
Gun.
the Gun soundtrack is, and that's still yet we still don't know. Just to kind of tie in the movies and comics and trailers. One thing that dropped last week that we didn't get to touch on yet is Netflix dropped the trailer for Sweet Tooth, and it looks really good. Sweet Tooth is a comic by Jeff Lemire. Basically in a futuristic world, there's stuff going on, but there's also human animal hybrids. And Sweet Tooth goes on a quest to kind of find out more about his own personal background and identity. Has everyone read the comic?
Not me.
Yes, I haven't read it in a long time, but I
Okay.
I read it.
Has anyone seen the trailer?
No.
Okay.
No.
Well, it's one of those things where like every time I think I'm comic booked out, something will like speak to me and I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I forgot there's, or not that I forgot, but there's other stuff than superheroes that is still yet to be touched on. That's one of them because apparently I'm never getting my Why the Last Man TV series. Like they keep telling me I am,
Right.
but then there's like always news about the show blew up or whatever, and I have no idea when I'm ever getting that. So we'll see. But Sweet Tooth, Paper Girls, I think there's a lot of hope for um, non superhero driven comic entities to gain a lot of momentum on these streaming services, which has to be good for the industry. I mean, we've always you would expect oversaturation at some point, but we might have already hit that and not even known because of the pandemic. Who knows? I don't know. So, but yeah, that's one of those comics where it's completely off the beaten path. So look out for that one later this year on Netflix. Actually, in June, coming up pretty soon. So
Speaking of non-superhero television,
yeah.
big news. NBC has issued a pilot order for the Melissa Rauch-driven Night Court sequel.
Yeah. Let's do it.
You know,
Now,
Melissa Rauch playing Harry Anderson's daughter.
okay.
Most of the cast coming back, including I follow her on TikTok. I'm gonna forget her name. Marsha.
Wallace.
No. Oh. Huh?
Is it Marsha Wallace?
No. Hold on. But she was talking about that she was excited to potentially be back. And it is Marsha Warfield, who played Rosalind. I can't even think of what her role was in Night Court.
She was one of the bailiffs from Fifth.
Yes.
Yeah. Or Bull. I'm sorry, Bull.
Yeah, she was a bailiff with Bull. Yes.
Well, I don't know how that I don't know how that show's going to work without Harry Anderson, but I'm willing to give it a shot, especially with how good some of these reboots or redos or continuations like Punky Brewster and Saved by the Bell. I mean, is this going to be Peacock? Is this
NBC has issued a pilot order? That's all we've got.
So yeah, it'll be tied into that. I'm all for it. I'm all for that. I mean, it's Night Court. Like you can, yeah. I think that'll work. It'll just depend on. It really will depend. That's kind of a wild show. Like when you think about everything that's happened in the world, and if you look back at John Larroquette's character's behavior and stuff like that, it'll be interesting to see how some of those things are tackled now or remembered through their eyes and all that. So I'm very interested in that.
Yeah, I think that show worked really well for its era. I'm not sure if it'll work in today's era.
Well, I think the whole premise is that it's Melissa Rauch coming on, and now she's sitting in the chair her father sat in all those years ago. Modern crimes, and the people that were part of it are maybe in different roles but still related to it. So it's, instead of John Larroquette being the lawyer, in these cases, he's her law school professor. And it's different people involved.
They're basically going 30 years after the fact, or whatever it will be right now. Yeah, it will be about 30 years, wouldn't it? Actually, more like 40. Mm-hmm. Yeah, 30, 35 years. Interesting. It would be interesting to see.
I'm here for it though, man.
Me too. And like I said, like some of those comedies have been really surprisingly good. I don't know what you call those now. It's not a reboot because it's continuation, so
it's a sequel.
Yeah.
But Night Court ran a lot longer than it ran from 1984 to 1992.
Yeah.
8 years.
It had a long run.
It did.
Shows back then ran a lot longer than they do now.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was easier, I think, back then to go get a long run.
Well, we're talking 8 years for a good show. There are shows that only lasted 2 years, 3 years. So not every show made it that long.
Right, but I think it was easier because there was less competition.
Not
good
just
shows
that.
get canceled now after 2 seasons.
They were also not paying their stars $1 million an episode, so it kind of.
Friends broke it. Is that what you're saying?
Oh, absolutely. And they were offering Jim Parsons $50 million for 3 years to keep Big Bang Theory going. That's that'll definitely kill the budget for any show.
I think the key to longevity in today's market is animation and crime, because those are the shows that last the absolute longest. I mean, there's some reality shows that have been on quite a while too, but like you think about Law and Order and NCIS and CSI, and then Simpsons, South Park, Family Guy. Um, yeah, because Simpsons is from almost from that Night Court era, so
Yep.
like yeah.
I mean, the beauty of animation is you don't have to age anybody. You can keep the story going, and you've got so much flexibility with what you can do. You can also change the voice actors if you need to. It'll bug people for a little while, and then that's the beauty of animation. You can tell the same story with more flexibility, especially with computer-generated animation nowadays. You have more or less automation that can do it for you.
Anyone want to talk about the paperweight of any comics that's coming out this week?
It's too heavy.
Yeah.
So, Jen got to talk to Declan Shelby, who has a great book out this week that I think it may be one of the big books of the week.
Yeah, Time Before Time is a really kind of an interesting look. It's think about the way that like when people want to be brought over the border from Mexico, like when you like have the coyote situation, but exchange that for people desperately want to get out of the time period that they're in because they feel like it's horrible and they want to go to a different, earlier, more simpler time. And so they're willing to give up to this kind of like mafia-like organization that control this time travel ability. Give everything that you own to them, and then they'll transport you back in time. And of course, there's always, caveat. All those kinds.
It sounds like Twilight Zone every issue. Twilight Zone episode every issue, where it's just going to be this horrible grass is always greener on the other side type of thing going on.
Mm-hmm.
There's a book that I'm sure will be a little bit of a nightmare for both Jen and Brainy coming out this week. Hank Howard, Pizza Detective, #1.
Well, we're getting enough copies, but man, we just had to. Some guy thought he could, work the system by having it shipped to different addresses. So he just had to cancel a bunch of his orders.
I didn't even put this online. I mean, for $1 a book, it's not worth. I mean, I pay 50-something cents for a T-fold mailer at this point, so I'm backwards on the deal. Even them giving it to me for free. So I'm just like, nope. You know what? You got to come get that book.
Yeah, we do it just because it's for those people who can't get it elsewhere.
Yep.
But I do like I know a lot of people have said a lot of unsupported things about the way Bad Idea is doing it, and I'm looking at the books, and they are outperforming all other books for us. It's just amazing, and I can't complain.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I wish.
Right, and as a fan, I'm loving every second of it.
Yep, and they're good books.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
They currently, it doesn't matter which one it is. I think any of the titles right now are double my best title and pull box, which is probably Batman, right? Or Amazing, which is close. But yeah, it's double, and it's 100% all paid for already. I mean, 1 through 4 ENIAC, it's already paid for. It's all done because I pre-charged for all of those. So people that say that Bad Idea is a bad idea just didn't do it right, I guess.
Correct. Yeah, and it is also a lot of the people that are against it are the people that aren't involved in it. They are the retailers that either chose not to do it or have not jumped on board yet.
Mm-hmm.
But someone tell me more about this pizza, though. I need to hear more about.
But some other books to watch out for this week: Marvel X-Corp #1.
Yep.
You Promised Me Darkness #2 from Behemoth, which might be out this week, might be out next week.
Yep.
And the Silver Coin #2 from Image Comics, which #1 was an absolute brain melter. Number 2 is a 80s teen camp horror movie theme with art written by Stephanie Phillips. So
I can't believe you forgot
Kelly
Silver
Thompson.
City.
I'm sorry. Can't believe I forgot what?
Silver City by Aftershock.
I haven't. I'll be honest. I'm a little salty about Silver City only because we just got the PDF this morning of Silver City for me to read, and so I haven't read it yet.
It's still,
But yes,
if it made my pull
Aftershock,
list,
Silver
it's got to be
City.
something good about it.
Right.
Fine, I guess I'll just have to read about the pizza detective.
Okay, so the Pizza Detective.
Caligula's safe.
It's an interesting concept of what Bad Idea is doing. You can only buy the book on May 12th, or have had pre-ordered it before that. Retailers are not allowed to sell it after that day.
Oh, well, that sounds like a nightmare for everyone.
To some extent, yes. I agree. It's going to be a nightmare for us to ship them out, but they did change the rule. Originally, they said you have to ship them out on that date. Then I'm sure enough of us complained, saying you got to be ridiculously crazy to think that we're going to ship out all these books on a Wednesday, which is New Comic Book Day. There's no way you expect us to do that. So they did change that rule where you can ship them out after, but you cannot sell them after that date. The story. Oh my God, that story is escaping me right now.
Hank Howard, Pizza Detective in Caligula's Safe by Robert Vendetti of Tankers and David Lapham, The Hero Trade, available for takeout and delivery at Bad Idea destination stores on May 12th for only 24 hours. Is coming with a big heap of pineapple to go with the pepperoni. That's the solicitation.
I just feel
but it's in Caligula's Safe, so I imagine it will be Caligula based. Although Robert Vendetti has been billing himself as a method writer, which means he has to live through whatever he's writing. Does that mean Robert Vendetti went back to ancient Rome and lived with Caligula? I don't understand.
He probably just had a toga party.
Also, there's a dude on the cover that looks like, I can't think of who his name is, but he was a big guy who was in cop shows in the 70s. When you see it, you'll know who I'm talking about.
Well, Mark, you got to make sure that you go over to your local comic shop that participates with Bad Idea and pick up a copy on Wednesday the 12th.
Okay.
Or pre-order from one of your not so local.
Bad Idea destination store.
Yep.
It just feels like this is going to be a book that's going to pop on eBay on the 13th for $200.
You should go on eBay right now and check it out. In fact, what I like about there are a lot of retailers that are selling it at 99 cents on eBay right now. So that's a plus.
But I thought they could only sell it on May 12th.
You can pre-order. You cannot
okay.
sell after May 12th.
I gotcha. All right. Anything else anyone want to throw out there before we wrap it up?
$100, $1,000.
Interestingly enough, I don't pick up G.I. Joe on a regular basis, but for some reason I am picking up this upcoming issue of G.I. Joe. I don't know why I pulled it, but I am. I'll have to figure out why I'm picking up 280, issue number 280 of G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero.
Something in the solicitation.
What's that?
Something in the solicitation got you, obviously.
Yeah, exactly. And like I said, I mean, I do pick up once in a while, but something in that solicitation did grab my attention. So we'll see where that goes.
And that's the series that's a continuation of the old Marvel series?
Yes, that is.
Like Larry Hama still writing it? Yeah. I also
somebody has a Hank Howard Pizza Detective and Caligula Safe #1 9.8 per pre-order.
Yeah.
How can you guarantee a 9.8? Anyhow, for 3 large.
3K?
Yeah, right. Nobody's going to pay that.
This Berserker?
I don't understand. Like there are people, they're like, buy it now for $100, buy it now for $1,000, buy it now for $1.
Yeah, the dollar ones are probably the ones that are selling right now.
Right. I'm not even looking at sold listings. I'm just looking at what idiots are asking. So let's go over to sold listings. $1, $1, $1, $1, $1, $1, $1.
Well, it will be interesting to see the price after May 12th. If every retailer sticks to their required rule, it would be.
All right. The most
that's where it's gonna
expensive
be.
ones I'm finding are $15 and $17 with free shipping. Almost everybody else is $1 plus like $9 shipping.
Oh.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. Well, actually, I shouldn't say that because shipping has gotten more expensive.
Yeah.
Shipping is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Well, all
Lumber
right.
is ridiculous.
What's ridiculous?
Lumber.
Oh yeah, lumber, chicken, microchips. What else?
Gas is about to go
right.
through the roof.
Gas about to go through the roof. There's a lot of random stuff.
Bags and
Going.
board.
Yeah,
Bags,
how are
trading card supplies.
they just? Yeah, you know, if you can find them, good luck, and you know, when you do find them, grab as much as you can.
Yeah.
Someone asked me the other day where I got my bags and boards, and I was like, ha ha ha, that's funny.
Well, what does that mean?
Funny.
Are you sold out of bags and boards?
No, I've got plenty because I'm not telling him who my supplier is.
Oh,
Exactly,
okay.
because you know you don't want them to dry up.
Yeah.
But most of our suppliers are basically oh my god, limiting us to case per week.
Yeah. Okay. It'll be interesting to see what other random products are going to be hit because the chicken one threw me off, and then the microchips, which is driving up the cost of used cars for some reason.
Do you know why the microchips are the way they are? It's hitting all of computers because everyone's making computer farms to farm for Bitcoin. So it's really hard to get a computer right now.
Yeah.
So I had set up a computer just as a test computer to mine Dogecoin a while back. I think it was like a month ago or something. I can't remember, but it wasn't too long ago, and I totally forgot about it. And I went there to check it out. I'm like, hey, you know, let's see what it's doing. In all that time, it's mined 2 coins. Actually, it's 1.83 coins. And I noticed it ran out of hard drive space. I'm like, well, you know, how much resources is this thing eating up? I totally forgotten I had run it, and I just shut it down. I'm like, yeah, okay, that's worth what, like $1? I probably wasted more energy on this thing.
It was worth $1 before SNL's opening monologue. And then
good job.
And then it went down after that. Well, thanks guys for being here as always, and thank you for watching Nerd News Now, part of the Kingdom of Geekdom on Woodlands Online, sponsored by Adventure Begins Comics and Games and Space Cadets Collection. Check out the other shows on Woodlands Online, like Music Cafe, Adventure Begins Show, Woodlands House and Home, The Best You, Between the Trees, Business Talk, and much more. You can watch all these on Woodlands Online and on our partner station, KBQT HD21, over the air on your television. Also, don't forget to add Woodlands Online TV to your Roku, and you can watch us on there as well. And you can listen to our podcast on Spotify, iTunes, Stitcher, or wherever you get your podcast from. See you next week on Nerd News Now.